If you were following along with me in the previous lesson, we explored the different pen modes you have here in OneNote, and then using a tablet PC or a tablet, we were able to print or handwrite some notes, even do a hand-drawn sketch, and using some of the drawing tools, we were able to draw a couple of shapes as well. That's what you see here in our unfiled notes. In this lesson, we're going to talk about what happens after you get that content onto your page. How do you do things like move it around, get copies of it? How about erasing or deleting portions of your content? That's the kind of thing we're going to do right now. Now, you will have had to have followed along the previous lesson to follow along with me now. So you have to do a little bit of drawing, a little bit of writing, and have these objects on your page. If you need to go back, please do that first. Otherwise, just sit back and watch, and you see how easy it is to do all of the things we're talking about. For example, if I wanted to mimic this hand-drawn stage floor plan arrangement with some actual shapes, well, I might want to move things around a little bit. So I need to know how to select objects. Well, we know how it works with text. We can just hover over an area and click and it's selected, even with handwritten text. That was easy. And keep in mind we're using our type text or select objects tool here. If I go down to this triangle, I don't see a frame appear around it, but I can click on it and now it's selected. You can see it's got handles, so I can size it. If I want to size it down just a little bit, I could do that from any of the corners or from the sides, right in the middle. When I see a double arrow, I can change the shape a little bit. To move it, I need the four-sided arrow. Just click and drag that down. Same thing goes for my rectangle. When I click on the edge, the four-sided arrow, I can move that around just like so. Now I want to get a couple of copies. So I'm going to click on my triangle, which is kind of upside down right now, and copy it. Of course, copying can be done with Control-C on the keyboard. I could right-click and choose Copy from the pop-up menu. I could go up to the Copy button here in the standard toolbar or the Edit menu and choose Copy from there. However you like to do it, go ahead and copy the object. Now let's click to the right of that object. Click down here so nothing's selected and paste it. I'm going to go up to my Paste button, give it a click, and there's my second copy. Now I'm going to move it into position with the four-sided arrow right about there, and I'd like to rotate that in a little bit. Just so happens on the Drawing Tools toolbar that we turned on in the previous lesson, Rotate does appear down here. If I right-click on the object, you'll notice Rotate also appears on that pop-up menu. I can choose from 45 degrees or 90 degrees in either direction and even flip it if I wanted to, vertically or horizontally. I'm going to rotate to the right 45 degrees just like that. And now with the four-sided arrow, I'm going to move it into position kind of like that right there. Perfect. Now I'm going to make sure that it's still selected and do another copy. I'm going to go to the Copy button up here on the standard toolbar, and I'm going to click over to the left here and paste. Click the Paste button, right-click, or Control-V on the keyboard if you prefer. And I'm going to flip this the other way. I'm going to flip it horizontally. To do that, I'm going to go down to the Drawing Tools toolbar and choose Flip Horizontal. You can see now I can get my four-sided arrow in there. I can move that into position over here on the right-hand side. And I've kind of got my stage layout or floor plan similar to what I tried to draw over here freehand. Now when it comes to selecting objects, we can click on them like we just did, or there's another tool. There's this lasso tool up here for selecting. When we click on that, go ahead and do that. And of course you'll need your Writing Tools toolbar or your Drawing Tools toolbar showing up on your screen to see that. And now let's just draw a lasso around the whole thing. So I'm going to click and drag around the whole thing. You can see that dotted line being drawn, and when I let go, the entire thing is selected, so I can get the four-sided arrow and move the whole thing around. Or I can start doing things like sizing it up and down, maybe stretch it out a little bit. It should be wider. I think you've got the idea. The lasso select tool allows me to select more than one object easily, just clicking and dragging. Of course, you can be using your pen to do all of this or your mouse. It doesn't matter. And with those objects selected, if you don't want them, you can actually hit your delete key. I'm going to press delete on the keyboard. Gone, just like that. Let's use the lasso select tool one more time to select our hand-drawn facsimile of our floor plan. And you can see as I get around the outside of those shapes, they kind of change the way they look. They're almost like hollow lines. That means they are selected, so I can move all of these down if I wanted to, just like so. That looks good down there. And I'm going to just simply go back up to my text tool here for typing and selecting and click on an empty spot on the page. Looks cool. All right, let's go up to some text now. Now, we saw earlier when we click inside this area or just hover inside this area, the frame appears, so I can click on the frame to select that. But it's also covering some of the objects down below that I don't want selected. So in that case, I might want to just deselect by clicking up here. And this frame kind of needs to change. And I don't see all of it over here on the right-hand side. But when I move over here, now I can kind of drag it in a little bit and maybe move these objects if I needed to around. But if we've got some text, the other option is to just select the text. So I'm going to go over to my lasso, and I'm just going to select the word important this time. That's the one I printed using my pen on the tablet. So with that selected, now I can move that around, just that around with the four-sided arrow. Click and move that up a little bit. And now with the lasso still selected, I can go down here and select this text, just that text, and move it around as well. Move it up here. All right, if I wanted to erase just portions of a drawing, I might want to use the eraser tool instead. So I'm going to go up to the eraser tool, and you'll notice as I hover over it, it says stroke erase, which means when I click on it, I can now start clicking and dragging with my mouse or pushing down with my pen to erase portions. So if I didn't want the stage, for example, you can see as I move over it, it's kind of being erased. If I go up to my undo button and click that, Control Z on your keyboard, we get it back. There's other types of erasers though. From the drop down you can see small, medium, and large. And in those cases all you need is a portion of your eraser to touch the object to erase it. So if I come down here right in the middle of this object here and click, you can see I just took a piece out of it. So if I wanted to erase portions, clicking and dragging allows me to do that. And now I could go in there and try and draw a straighter line, perhaps using my pen. And it's just a quick and easy way to edit a drawing. So using your eraser or your delete key, if you want to totally eliminate an object, that can be done as well. Just a matter of selecting. We use the lasso select. And we'll click and drag around this object. We want to make sure we get all the way around it. And if it doesn't work out, don't worry about it. It takes a little bit of practice. Try again just by clicking and dragging. You don't have to undo anything. Once it's selected, try hitting your delete key on the keyboard or the delete key on either the writing tools toolbar, or you'll see it down there on the drawing tools as well. It's another way to remove. So we're just left with our text now. And in the next lesson, we're going to talk about taking that text and converting it into typewritten text. You've taken down your notes in the meeting. Now you want it in a text format so you can share it with others, maybe in an email, for example, cutting and pasting and so on. It's all coming up next.